And we're back. We are a week away from basketball. The NBA season is just about to begin, just before Christmas. Alex has all the ins and outs of the basketball season that's just about to start. So, Alex, please take it away.
Yeah, Eric talked about basketball a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of with the draft and trades and rumors and stuff. But now basketball has started. The preseason's going on. Some big news. So today, Giannis Antetokounmpo signed his max deal in Milwaukee, 5 years, $228 million. So he's not going to Miami or Golden State or the LA teams. He's staying in Milwaukee. So that's some big news. We don't really need to talk about it. He's a two-time defending MVP. That pretty much cements that Milwaukee will be a team to beat in the East for the next couple of years. Another team in the East that's coming up, the Brooklyn Nets. Remember that guy, Kevin Durant? Yeah, he's healthy this year. Kyrie is healthy, supposedly. I don't really know. James, you wanted to talk about the Nets. So what do you think? So KD's healthy. Kyrie's healthy. The East has always been weak compared to the West. How well do you see that Nets team finishing? Are you expecting prime KD, or does he need a little time to get his legs underneath him?
That's a pretty loaded question, but I'm going to answer the back part of it first.
Yeah,
I'm going to talk about KD. I think we're going to see prime KD. The dude had a long time to recover, and he's like Achilles surgery nowadays is way more advanced than it used to be. In years past, it'd kind of be like a death sentence in terms of career, but nowadays it's like it almost never happened. It's crazy. You watch NFL players like Richard Sherman come back, and he plays Pro Bowl level next year. People come back from this all the time, and it's just they're okay. I don't know if you guys saw his tweet that he sent out, but he sent out a tweet saying that his MVP form is coming, and I believe it. The dude has to silence a lot of doubters, and he has a lot to prove. And so I look to him being way more motivated than he was before, and he's going to use that to fuel him to an MVP season. So I think he's going to give Giannis a run for his money this season. I think the pairing of Kyrie and KD is phenomenal. Those are two really great players that complement each other. They have two different styles. KD is a really good spot-up shooter. He can get to the basket. Kyrie can handle the ball really well and move and operate your offense under any circumstance. That paired with DeAndre Jordan, like that's rebounding right there. So if you miss a shot, you got DeAndre Jordan who averages like 12 rebounds a game. Like that's a pretty complete team there. In terms of their success, I think that really hinges on Steve Nash. That's their new head coach. This dude has never coached before. Like, what kind of system will he run? Will he bring the team together when it gets tough? Can he make tough decisions? Typically, the best coaches are players who were on winning teams but weren't the best player. That's because they know how to win because they've seen it first and foremost, but they weren't the best, so they were able to relate to other players who weren't the best. Steve Nash was the best. I mean, he played at Dirk Nowitzki, but he's one of the best players to ever play in the NBA. I mean, he was a point guard, and that helps him be a coach. But I don't know. Can he be the best coach for the Nets? Can he make everybody mesh? That's a lot of personality to mesh as a first-year coach.
Yeah, I thought that was a surprising hire. It feels like it came out of nowhere. If they're healthy, I can see the Nets being a top 4 seed in the East. I don't know if they will make a title run, but I think they're definitely a more formidable team this year than they were last year. I mean, any team that has Kevin Durant, a healthy Kevin Durant, is a formidable team. Sticking with the East, Eric, we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know if we've ever talked about this team on this podcast before. They got the 3rd overall pick. They picked LaMelo Ball. Then out of left field, signed Gordon Hayward to a 4-year, like $200 million contract. Michael Jordan runs that team. I think we've heard of that guy. He's known for doing some things in this league. He's not known for putting together a well-cohesive team. The Hornets have been pretty much bottom dwellers since he's taken over. Is this finally the Hornets' time? Are they moving on the up and up? And they're a young team, but what do you think about the Hornets?
Yeah, I mean, LaMelo Ball, I guess James is right. He didn't go to the Warriors. He went to the Hornets. Yeah, I mean, if the GOAT Michael Jordan believes that this guy has some potential, then I think we should kind of go along with it. Here's one thing that I'll say is it's kind of a good thing that he went and played overseas in Latvia, which is he played in the same league Porzingis played in. But guys like Luka Doncic, Nikolai Jokic, Porzingis, all these guys played in the Serbian leagues and the Latvian leagues instead of going to college. So they kind of were in a pro league getting the experience that way. I know it's different than the NBA, but that's kind of what LaMelo Ball did the last 2 years. So that could play to his advantage. The Hornets, they've kind of been like that on the bubble team the last couple years of just like missing the playoffs by a few games. It's like their second half of the season. They make like a surge, but just can't get it done. I think this year they squeeze into a playoff spot like the 8th seed and play like the Nets and just get demolished. But at least you can get LaMelo Ball into the playoffs. Terry Rozier, he's got some playoff experience. Hayward played with him on the Celtics. They got like random kind of – they remind me of the Clippers a couple years ago when they had like Tobias Harris and those guys where they squeezed into a playoff spot, had to play the Warriors, got their ass kicked. But I think they got a future ahead of them.
Yeah, this feels like a season for the Hornets. If they make the playoffs, great, and they get swept in the first round, kind of, oh, well, you're looking for growth out of these guys. I mean, LaMelo's the future of the franchise. He's probably the best of the 3 Ball brothers. I mean, the middle one is not even in the league. Pistons already cut him.
Waived him.
Yeah, they waived him. They're done with him already. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Hornets can squeeze in 7 or 8 seed, but they're probably not going to go past the first round. But you're just looking for growth from these guys. It'll be really interesting to see kind of what happens with them. Moving on to the second overall pick and the Golden State Warriors. So James Wiseman got picked by the Warriors, number 2 overall. And it was looking great. And then Clay tore his what did he tear? I think he tore his ACL. He tore something.
Achilles.
Everyone's tearing their Achilles. Okay, it was the MCL the first time, or the ACL. Now it's his Achilles.
Yeah.
So Clay's out. Steph is back. They've got Wiseman. The Warriors were awful last year, but they're still the Warriors. I mean, Steph's a 2-time MVP. Traden, you're a Warriors fan, sort of. What do you think? What do you think of this Warriors team? What do you think of Steph and obviously the most overrated player in basketball, Draymond Green?
So
the whole Warriors. What do you see coming out of this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a month ago or whatever that we found out about Clay. I think it was maybe 2 or maybe it might have been over a month ago. Anyway, at that point, I was pretty stoked on the Warriors, and I'm a Warriors fan by association. The NBA and basketball is tough for me, as anybody who listens to this podcast can tell. Regardless, I am associated to Warriors with the Warriors fans, so I like the Warriors by association. Again, a month ago, I thought that they were going to turn some heads and people are going to remember, oh yeah, the Warriors are in this league. But then Clay went down, and then when you really dig into the group as is without Clay, looks a little more dire, I think. And I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid. I don't drink the fucking Kool-Aid that these crazy fans are drinking, because guess what, guys? The Warriors are not going to be that great. They're going to make some strides. I do think that Curry is going to be – the spotlight is on him. He needs to be able to rise to the occasion, and he has in the past. I admit that. And anybody who wants to fight me on that, that's fine. He is a 2-time MVP. That's fine. But he is going to be asked to do a lot, and he's going to be expected to do a lot. He's played 5 games in 18 months. 5 games in 18 months. So he's going to be pretty rusty. But he really needs to rise to the occasion. This Wiseman pick, I think that he's going to have to fight for his position as a starter, but I think he's going to win that position eventually. And I do think that he's going to I think he needs to be the player that the Warriors expect him to be and want him to be. Otherwise, if he's anything less than that, he's not going to be the team's not going to fare that well. I personally think, and I like Draymond Green personally, and now that's fine if you guys want to shoot me down off that. I think he's gonna have a little bit of a rebound now that he's got his boy Curry back. But looking at the lineup that they have, I don't think that they are going to make the playoffs, or if they do make the playoffs, it's going to be like inching into the 8th spot. And the reason why is because the West is so fucking hard. The West is so stacked. They are so good. They have the Clippers. They have the Lakers. They have, insert any name in, that even played in the bubble just now. And the Warriors are going to lose those series. I'm telling you right now. Unless, and I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see I don't see enough there without Clay. I don't think that they are going to make the strides that they need to. Now, if a bunch of things happen, if Wiseman's the guy that he needs to be, if Curry steps up to the occasion and has an MVP caliber season, if Draymond Green can come back to his former self, that maybe, but that's a lot of things that have to happen. And so I just don't see it happening. So yeah, James, you had a question. It looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. You said that you don't think the Warriors are going to be that great because Clay isn't in the lineup, correct?
Yeah, but yeah.
That's the main point. Okay. So you don't think that Andrew Wiggins, former number 1 overall pick, who averages 22 points per game, you don't think he can shoulder the load that Klay Thompson had?
I think that he's going to be a huge help, but I don't think he's going to be able to replace Clay.
How much did Clay average in his career? About 22 points.
Yeah, but he's also not
statistically speaking, he shouldn't be the same.
Okay, there you go. Then you're right. I'm wrong. I don't know, man. You're talking to a guy that knows
Like
barely anything
Matilda.
about basketball.
Oh, man. That was easy. Damn.
Got him.
I was hoping for more discourse here.
Discord. I can't beat that. Clay's proven. Clay's way more proven than Wiggins has in the past 5 seasons. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
Clay, better team.
Clay is one of the all-time
Yeah.
great wing defenders. He's one of the great shooters in NBA history. You can't compare Clay to Andrew Wiggins. That's the most.
I'm just talking shit offense here.
I don't care. It's the most ridiculous comp we've had in a long time.
I say they're a top 8 team. I say they make the playoffs because Andrew Wiggins is on that team.
Okay.
That's fair, but
Trading, though, you're not wrong. The West is insane. You think about it, the Suns got better with Chris Paul. Dallas is looking good. Memphis is going to be better. The New Orleans Pelicans are going to be better. Really, the only 2 weak teams are the Kings and the OKC Thunder. That's literally it. Everyone else legitimately has a shot to make the playoffs. But, Tyler, let's finish with you. Your boys, the Lakers, defending champs, did some tinkering this offseason. Got a little bit younger, brought some other guys in. Marc Gasol, Trez, Eric, Harold jumped ship, Schroeder, Wesley Matthews. Fuck them. Tyler, what do you think of this? The Lakers retooling. They obviously can't be rebuilding as the defending champs. Are they the team to beat in the West?
100%, hands down. Obviously they won the championship, so I think any team that wins the championship automatically has that target on their back. But I think this Lakers team got a little bit better in this offseason. I think, they lost a lot of their supporting cast. Obviously, LeBron and AD are still back, and they're going to be the main 2 guys. But, the guys they brought in, like they're mentioned, I think they're a little bit, like you said, younger. I think they're a little bit more talented. No disrespect to the guys that left, but I really like this new group of supporting cast members, if you will, that the Lakers have this season. Time will tell. Obviously, it's a lot of new guys coming in, so the chemistry is going to be different. How they fit in with that Frank Vogel defense and all that's going to be a little bit different. So time will tell with that. And then they got this, Talen Horton-Tucker dropped 33 points against Eric's Clippers in the preseason game on Sunday. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a surprise or 2. I think this Lakers team has obviously a lot of talent, and I think they have a lot of depth. They really don't have any glaring weaknesses. For me, they are the easy team to beat in the whole league. So I see them as favorites winning the NBA title again.
So you think this the guy you just said, whatever his name is, he's the next LeBron James? It's like you saying Hurts is the next Mahomes. I was waiting for you to say that.
Completely different. Preseason game.
Yeah, speaking of those preseason games, the Lakers did beat the Clippers in their first 2 preseason games. LeBron and AD did not play. It's preseason. You can't really take all that much into it. Speaking of the Clippers, Paul George did sign a max deal also to stay with the Clippers. I think that is a really interesting move for them, especially with how poorly he played. Not poorly. That's a strong word. I would say inconsistent play he had in the playoffs. Paul George is obviously an elite talent in this league. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with the Clippers moving forward with Kawhi, because he can become a free agent after this year. And if the Clippers have another early exit, does Kawhi look for greener pastures somewhere else? That will be really interesting. Very last thing, James, we have to talk about Zion. We have to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans. So Zion missed a fair amount of his rookie season due to injury. He's built like a linebacker. I mean, I think there's injury concerns surrounding Zion already. What do you think? What do you think from Zion? Are you looking forward to him being on a court for a full season?
Yeah, I definitely am. That guy's electric. He's explosive. You watch him to watch the highlights. It's not so much the fundamental plays you look to him. You go for the highlights. He makes big plays, splashy plays. Like you mentioned, he only played 24 games in his first season. So having that season under his belt and having the rigors of an NBA season and all that, and having access to the world's best in terms of medical staff, aka Eric, I don't think he'll be injured that much more often. He averages 22 points and 6 rebounds in his first season, aka 24 games. But on top of that, I think the Pelicans will do well this year. I think they're going to make a push for the 6 through 8 seeds in the West, mainly because every single one of that young core has improved tremendously every single year. I mean, Brandon Ingram is the most improved. The dude put up great numbers, 24 points per game. Lonzo even improved too. His numbers improved. And Josh Hart, they also added some really good veterans that know how to win. Got Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams. And they have a new coach, Stan Van Gundy, who has a long track record. The dude has coached over 900 games and has a winning record in those 900 games. There's a lot of good leadership there for a young core, and I think that they're going to succeed this year.
Yeah, the West, like we were talking about earlier, is insanely deep. The Pelicans could go anywhere from the 5 seed to the 12th seed, and all those teams could be a matter of 4 games apart. The West will be crazy interesting. One last thing to watch: James Harden did show up to Rockets practice and played in a preseason game, even surrounding all these trade rumors. Russell Westbrook did get traded away to the Wizards, and John Wall came back in that trade. The Rockets did sign Boogie Cousins, who's coming off another injury. The Rockets, I feel like, are one of those teams that, sort of like the Warriors, you have no idea what they're going to be this year. But this season will be crazy interesting. A lot of storylines. I'll probably keep talking about it until it finishes and/or gets shut down due to COVID. That's basketball for you, Traden.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, thank you, Alex. I'm excited for it. I mean, as excited as I can be. Clearly, as you guys saw in this segment, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so don't listen to me. I mean, I'm worthless here.